Alright, I'm back at the big project lawn today, and we're out here kind of working on this thing a little bit today before we get some more rain in. And we've been debating on whether we were still going to do this whole project now, but it's looking like cooler temperatures are still on the way yet, and quite a bit of rain, which is going to help us to kind of hopefully not wash things out, but at the same time keep this thing watered for us kind of. So we're going to do a little bit of stuff out here today and try this, and I'll kind of show you the process that we're thinking. We've went back and forth on a bunch of different ways that we were going to do this, but with a limited time frame now and some compost out here that got put down, we're going to try to spread out this compost now first. Then we're going to put some seed out, kind of drag that around, put a little more seed down, make sure everything looks good and flat and even as much as we can. And we're going to roll that in and hopefully cross our fingers for the best. It's one thing that's kind of interesting as well that you might be able to see right here, right out in this area, is you see how much greener that is than everything else around it? That's where some compost has been sitting for probably about 3 weeks or so, and it's made a huge difference in the way that things look in that area compared to everywhere else around it that didn't have any compost next to it. So just kind of an interesting thing there to show how much more organic matter and things we need in this soil to really get things thriving. But we just took laying some compost there and letting it break down a little bit to give us quite a bit of green up, and it looks so much better in that area compared to everywhere else around it. Compost? No compost. So here's a quick look at the front yard as well. Still pretty patchy, just needs a whole lot more nutrients. If we could put some compost in here, that'd be good long term as well. But first thing we need to do is for sure come in and get some fertilizer on it. It just needs some fertilizer to kind of get some more nutrients going. And we'll be overseeding this for sure in the fall. Here's a good chunk of that fescue that we're using, the bluegrass fescue mix. So you can see a little bit of bluegrass in here. And most all this other stuff is fescue, but it's a much thinner variety than some of them you might be used to with fescue. So that's kind of what it looks like. It does have a fescue kind of tougher feel to it, but color is really nice. So looking forward to getting some more of that out in the yard. Just doing some dragging right now. It's actually looking pretty good. All this compost was kind of a little bit wet, but at the same time, once we're getting it spread out with the soil that's there is kind of dried out now on the top layer, so this is looking pretty good.
You want to grab one for the trailer?
Okay.
Open sesame here.
I hear it. Yep.
She flows.
All right.
Ready?
Yep, ready. So what's nice about using that little dethatcher in front of there is that it's putting these little nice little rows in the ground for us here. and then we can actually just kind of come in and lightly drag this over, and then we're going to roll it, and that should be really good seed to soil contact without burying the seed too much. So that's the plan. It's looking pretty good so far.
Does anybody ever get or say anything about not wearing the proper PPE?
Oh yeah.
I'm not wearing ear protection.
We are now going to pray to all things holy that this thing does not completely wash away on us with about 10 days of rain in the forecast. That would be great if it would just rain every day, keep this thing going without washing it away, but I don't have that kind of luck, I don't think. So we'll see what happens. So we're using that thing right now to just kind of drag that seed in ever so slightly, just barely kind of scraping the surface. We don't want all of that seed just sitting on top of the ground here, or a lot of it's going to wash away with rain and birds are going to come in and take a bunch of it too. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. We're just lightly going through that section, and then we will roll it over, and that'll be good seed to soil contact. Just hope for the best. So final step here of the day, well, maybe, I think we haven't put down fertilizer yet. No, we haven't. It's just rolling, 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 rolling. Rolling this thing in here, rolling the seed will help it to make sure that it's touching the soil and that we kind of get a somewhat flat surface there. This thing isn't absolutely perfect. We're not trying to reel mow it or anything like that. It's going to be cut probably between 3 and 4 inches most of the year, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but at the same time, when you have the time here to actually try to make the soil fairly flat, that's what we tried to do. But we're also running out of time today with that weather coming in right now, so. $14,000 square feet, 3-foot roller. That's gonna take a little while. So now we're spraying down tenacity, and this is something I've used in renovations quite a few times. Makes a big difference on preventing weeds or helping to kill those weeds when they come up inevitably. We've done a lot of work here with the soil, so things are going to have some weeds just come up. So this helps to prevent those, or basically it helps to kill them as they actually come up out of the ground. Pretty good. One bag of this I'd say we probably go around 1 pound, which is 9,500 square feet. So we really only need probably like 2 bags.
Okay.
out at the big project lawn today, and of course right after we seeded that thing we got about 9 inches of rain or so in the last week and week or two. So I'm just kind of taking a peek at it today to see where we're at, but it's about 90 degrees today, so not ideal for that either, but let's take a little look. Just check out this soil, it's crazy. We have had so much rain. It rained 2 days ago, and this is how dry it is already, just with 2 days of warm weather. So it's really just a battle that it's really hard to face here with this specific soil and how crazy fast it dries out. So check this out where a bunch of the compost washed into. Bunch of grass under there. That's how we wish everything looked. You can also see here some of these seed blankets actually did a pretty good job. You've got stuff popping up through here. Quite a bit of it actually. Show you what it looks like underneath. So there we are. Actually did a pretty good job holding that in place. So was it really a total failure? No, not exactly. I mean, would we wish that it wouldn't have gotten washed out? Obviously, yes, but I think there's some stuff here yet that's going to survive until fall, and then we're just going to keep going at it. The thing about it is that even in fall, different weather things that can happen. Last year on my yard, I had 3 different times that I had to kind of fix it and overseed some things because we kept getting washouts. And when you're dealing with seed, it's just kind of the way that it goes. Now, we may end up drilling this seed in next fall. We'll see what the plan is. The soil was just so loose here, putting that compost on top, that we just didn't feel like if we drilled into that, it was just going to be buried a little bit too deep with that compost. So maybe we'll throw a little more out yet this summer and try to get some of this soil a little bit healthier before we go at it in the fall, but we'll see what happens. If it ends up being just a super hot time here, we're probably going to wait until we get closer to fall and then make a decision at that point. But I was a little bit interested to see how those seeding blankets were going to work out versus the non-seeding blanket area, and so it looks like between a combination of the compost and the seeding blanket, that was the best spots that we have so far. So we'll see what we do in the fall, what happens, but we're just going to monitor this here over the summertime. Hopefully things don't get baked too much, but it's the way it goes here. It gets pretty hot, and cool season grass isn't like that anyway, especially new stuff. So that's the update for now. Don't forget, here we have to have the traditional Iowa drink right here. So for those of you who don't know,